Now we're going to add one of the most commonly requested features, and that's double jumping. It's actually a very simple thing to set up if you do it right. Let me show you the process of figuring out when a player can jump and how many jumps they have left. The first thing that we want to do is go to our player and open up our player script. And we're going to start with a player that can jump 2 times, and that's it. We'll make it so you can adjust it later, but you'll see it's very simple to have any number of jumps that we want to have. And the first thing that we want to do is when we're on the ground and actually landed, we want to just give our player some number of jumps. So we're going to want to store an integer or a number, a whole number of jumps that are available. And I'm going to do that right after this line 86. I'm going to add 2 more lines here, and we'll say if is grounded. And we want to make sure that our player is not falling downward. So we need to do something with the rigid body and look at the velocity. So we'll say get component, and we'll get the rigid body 2D component. And we want to check the velocity.y value. We want to make sure that the y value on that velocity is either 0 or negative, like we're falling down. It's pushing down. So we'll say less than or equal to 0. So if we're on the ground and we're going downwards or we're touching the ground and not moving at all, whatever it is, we're not moving up. That's the main thing. If velocity y is positive, it means we're jumping. Then we want to increase or set our number of jumps available. So we'll say underscore jumps available equals 2. Or maybe we'll call this jumps remaining. Let's do that. We'll generate a field for jumps remaining since it doesn't exist yet. This is how I generate all of my field variables. Enter. And then we'll hit, it's Alt Enter and then Enter to generate. F12 to go to it and get rid of that private keyword. We don't need it, and it's just kind of extraneous. We don't need to give it a default value though, because it's going to get set in our grounding to 2 every time we're on the ground and pushing downwards. The next thing we need to do is in our jump detection. Instead of checking to see if we're grounded, let's just check to see if we have jumps remaining. So we'll replace the is grounded here on line 15 with jumps remaining is greater than 0. And then the last thing we need to do is just remove a jump from our jumps remaining whenever we use one. So if we use a jump, we need to decrement our jumps remaining. To do that, we're going to modify this little chunk of code here on line 56 and put it inside of braces. So if they start a jump by pressing fire when they have jumps, we want to do 2 things of code. So we'll add some braces around this. It will set the jump end time still for when our jump has to end. So we have our maximum time. And then on the next line, we'll say underscore jumps remaining. And we want to remove one. So just like plus plus removes or adds one, minus minus removes one. So that will decrement it or reduce it by 1. So it'll go to 2, and then it'll go down to 1, and then it'll go to 0. So we'll be able to jump twice in the air. Let's save, get rid of the little star there. Take a look at our entire script again, and then go try it out. We should now be able to jump 2 times, and if we change that code of jumps remaining from 2 to 3, we could jump 3 times, or however many times we want, or we could put that in a variable, but for now I think 2 is probably good. Let's try it out and make sure that it works though. So I come in here, I jump, and I jump again, look at that. Jump and jump again, and I have no more jumps, can't jump, jump, jump. It's looking good. You can actually look at our jumps remaining value too. You can't see this in the player right now, but let me show you a cool trick so that we can view it and kind of debug it if you're curious, or if maybe you're not seeing your jumps remaining right. So what we can do is go to this player, click on the 3 dots, and then choose the properties. Oh, it's a little bit off screen. Let me drag it over so it pops up on your screen. So click here on the 3 dots, and properties right there. That'll bring up this nice properties window that shows me everything that I was already able to see, but now I can right click or click up here on this little dot and choose debug and see all of the hidden variables as well. So I can see my jumps remaining is at 2. When I jump, it goes to 1, and I jump again, it goes to 0. And now what you do with this window is up to you. I like to just have one of these kind of off to the side that I can see and view and kind of debug stuff without having to go modify my inspector. Again, remember, you just go to right click and choose properties. It'll bring up a window, and then just put that window into debug mode if you want to see the private things on there. You can see the public things by default, but you can see those in the inspector anyway. All right, so our double jump is working. I'm going to make sure that we are saved. Go to the project view or to the plastic view and commit that we've added double jump and check in.